Hello! Today we're going to talk about finding your first failure. This is an attitude of mine that will serve you well in many areas of your life if you take it on. The idea is simply this. When you're moving into a new domain of life experience, when you're learning a new skill, when you're trying to build up a new habit, fail as quickly as you possibly can. And don't just go into the situation and let failure happen, but be actively looking for ways to fail. So why? Why would you want to do this? Two reasons. One is to start the learning process. It has been my experience that you're not really learning until you start failing. So if you're staying on sort of easy, guided, on the rails sort of experiences, you're not really finding out in a broad-based way what it is that determines success or failure in the domain that you're working in. It's only when you start rubbing up against the boundaries of success, and then, ideally, immediately driving directly off the trail and into the weeds, that you're going to really discover what this whole domain of life experience is about. And start the feedback loop that's going to get you oriented enough so that you have a robust experience of success. Because it's all well and good if everything goes right to be successful. But mastery is when success still is there when things are going wrong. Mastery is when success is still possible when things are going wrong. So that's the sort of robust understanding of the domain you want to build. You don't start getting there until you have some failures under your belt. Until you can say, well, why did this fail? And how would I need to pivot in order to bring this back into the realm of success? Just doesn't happen. And the second is just about stakes. The longer you delay failure, the more likely there are to be significant consequences to failure. In the worst case scenario, if you get out of the sort of learner training kind of period where everybody cuts you slack without having had a significant failure, then your first failure is going to come after people are expecting you to know what you're doing. And under those circumstances, since you have a very narrow path of success available to you, you're probably not going to be able to recover. You're going to have a bad time. So actively seeking failure means that you're far more likely to be failing for the first time in a context where there are no stakes, there are no consequences, right? You haven't left your little sandbox of learning, and so you can really get a much fuller understanding of the domain before people start counting on you to actually know what you're doing, right? And in general, both of those things sort of keep you out of ending up in the category of sort of the expert beginner, like the person who thinks they're an expert because they haven't actually been through enough iterations of the entire process and failing to realize how much they don't know. Until you start failing, you don't really know what the depth is of skill that's available in the domain. If everything that you've done has been a success, it's very easy to come to believe that you're really good at it. But it might be that you haven't actually encountered a significant challenge. And if you have some really unfortunate attitudes of mind, you might have been avoiding a significant challenge. So look for that first failure. That's what I'm advocating here. So, examples. Because I'm the sort of person who doesn't always 100% succeed in following the advice that I give people, this is something I exhort my math students to constantly. Just please, just do it wrong. Do it wrong. Don't try to sit here and noodle it and figure out what's the right. Just do a wrong thing and you will very quickly figure out what it looks like to do it right. Constantly on that. But one time, I completely failed to follow that advice. I was working through a book on abstract algebra, and there was a problem about intersecting a hyperbola and a parabola under certain conditions. And I must have noodled that thing, just sort of staring at the problem statement, drawing a few pictures, trying to picture in my mind what are the properties of that intersection for maybe about 3 weeks, working on this on and off at the bus or when I had some time between clients, etc., etc. And then one day, one of my students was late. And while I was waiting for it, I was like, oh, I'll whip out that problem. That problem, I haven't really gotten super stuck into a lot of computation. It's probably something that I can pick up and drop really quickly. This will be great. And I went, well, what have I really done on this problem? Oh, dang it, I've never even seen what it looks like to fail this problem. Well, what's the stupidest thing that I could write down as a potential solution to this? Well, the simplest parabola is y equals x squared, and the simplest hyperbola is y equals 1 over x. So what if I put x squared is equal to 1 over x? And then I looked at it and went, well, it's wrong, yeah. But it's actually only out by some kind of constant factor. 15 seconds of work, and I've got the solution to this thing that I've worked on for 3 weeks. As it is in math, so it is in life, in my experience. Especially, got a little bit urban right there. Especially when you're in a context where you have a mentor or a teacher. This is an incredibly useful practice because there is a trap available of wanting to look good in the eyes of your teacher or mentor, wanting them to believe that you know things, which defeats the entire purpose of the relationship. You want to expose all of your ignorance to your mentor so that they can give you guidance to work around that ignorance, to get to a place of deeper knowledge. If you hide that by avoiding challenges and staying away from things that might lead to failure, then you're missing the opportunity that the mentor and relationship creates. So finding failure quickly not only exposes your ignorance maximally so that your mentor can give you guidance, it also really respects their time and their investment in that relationship, because if you're sitting around sort of noodling all day trying to find the perfect solution and avoiding failure, they have to sit there and wait. The cycles of, observing, offering guidance, seeing the results, etc., get longer. If you just fail hard immediately and let them guide you and then try to take up that guidance and apply it and then take that into failing hard immediately, you'll very, very quickly get a lot of good information that you can then just walk away, iterate on, practice with, and make the most of that relationship. So for all those reasons, get out there, find your first failure. I don't think I was actually done here. Okay. What's the other thing? How much time we got? Oh, we got a few minutes. Now, direct application to the business of being a happy human being, when you actually set out to secure a robust sense of your own well-being by developing the skills that allow you to intervene in the way that your experience gets constructed, most of that is going to be wildly novel to you, which means that you are going to fail at your first, your second, your 100th, your 1000th attempt at it. And so if you're avoiding failure, what you're actually going to end up doing is avoiding practicing. And it's a discipline that requires an incredible amount of practice and an incredible amount of failure and willingness to fail and willingness to sort of tighten up the feedback cycle. Like, okay, here's an experience that I know that is not super great. It's a little bit fraught. So what do I want to do? Now I've got a plan for what I'm going to substitute in there during that experience. Okay, that didn't work. New plan, right? Do the postmortem, come up with a new plan, fail at the new plan. But if you are afraid of failing, if you want to succeed, then you're going to avoid implementing the plan, or avoid making a plan that's sufficiently challenging to actually stretch you into developing the skills to intervene in your experience. Yeah. I don't know if any of this is going to come to anything. I keep feeling like there's a really good video in here, but I haven't quite hit how I want to frame it. Ow! And I just threw my shoulder out scratching my back because I'm old. Oh, Jesus, it's dislocated. Oh, Lord have mercy. Oh, oh, come on, buddy. Don't be like this. All right. This one may not go that great. Work on finding your first failure. Trust me on this. It's gonna go great.